I'll just share something with us quickly, 4 steps to get the best out of this conference. And that is catching the spirit behind the conference. Like I said, the spirit behind the conference is not on the conference, it's on the convener of the conference. So you need to be putting your eyes on the convener. Don't get me wrong, God is the ultimate. I hope you know that. Sometimes we always deceive ourselves that, God is a spirit, but you realize that every church or every conference has different manifestation of the same spirit. And when you read in Revelation, you understand this. It's the same spirit, but in 7 different manifestations. The church of Laodicea is different from the church of Philippi. So you must know what to do to be able to get it. And then since the grace of God is upon him, and then what I would advise us to do today is that, look, pay attention to the words. Pay attention to the words that comes from the mouth of the speakers, but most importantly, the mouth of the convener. Most importantly, because the spirit of a man goes through his words. Ezekiel 2:2. And the spirit entered me when he spoke to me. In other words, the spirit did not enter until he spoke. The spirit entered me when he spoke to me, and he lifted me up my feet. So the spirit of a man is always in his word. The more you encounter the word of a man, the more you encounter the spirit. The word that I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life. So if we pay attention to that, it will be good for us. And number 2, like I'm rushing, number 2 is to ensure, I don't know what our doctor has this in mind, but even if he doesn't lay hands on us at the end of this conference, you should pray over the oil, and then something must touch you from him. The protocol guys will safeguard him. That doesn't mean you should lay him on the road when he's going right down because he has to touch you. But there must be a laying of hands. There must be a laying of hands. I don't know how you get it. That's why some people, they are very smart. They know how to go behind, they know how to go Nicodemously at the middle of the night to go and get what most of us did not get. And then you must know that there must be a laying of hands. And you see, the spirit of excellence never got into Joshua until Moses laid hands on him. So when you read the last chapter in Deuteronomy, the Bible says Joshua, the son of Nun, got the spirit of excellence because Moses laid hands on him. Not because he's the son of Nun. It was because Moses laid his hands on him. So that's number 2. Number 3 is to serve. I don't know. I know we have different churches here. You need to start looking at how can my church serve the ministry of David Ogbueli? How can my church serve in the ministry? And he organizes crusade here and there. So you need to look at it. What will my church do? What burden do we want to carry? That is how to connect and make sure that this thing continue. Because, you can get all this word and everything. After 3 months, if nothing is done, you will forget it. All this, what? I tell you. it will reduce in its intensity after some time. But there are some things like this that keeps it going. So you must figure out, how do we want to serve? If he's having a crusade in Anambra, do we want to make sure that all the ushers come from our church? Well, you just need to figure it out. And the best way to do that is to look at his plans, to look at the things that he's doing, and then you plug into it. Are we together? So the 4th one is to give. Not to give your offering and your tithe or whatever they want to collect here at this meeting. It's for you to package an offering and send it to him. I don't know. I don't want to create any chaos. I don't know what the church is planning to do, but there must be something from your pocket laid down at the apostles' feet. It must be done. And it must be sacrificial. Though I'm not taking it because I don't have enough time to take it. But you must do it. It must stretch you. You can't just come and then go like that and you think everything is going to be all right like that. Everything just going to work automatically. No, it doesn't work like that. I don't have the time to explain it, but, Isaac and Jacob, the same thing. The same, Isaac told Esau, go and prepare me a venison. But Jacob went to Isaac's backyard and took Isaac's goat and cooked for Isaac. So it was not the fact that Isaac needed anything. It was just the protocol behind that kind of prayers, that it was demanded. So when you understand this, then you know that you don't go to any meeting without sowing a personal seed to the convener of the meeting, especially if that meeting blessed you. And I'm 100% guaranteed that these meetings that started yesterday has blessed everybody. So that seed has to be sown. And you know the prayer that Isaac prayed? When you read Genesis 27, verse 27, you understand. And it's a game-changer prayer. He said, my son, you smell like the field the Lord has blessed. In other words, Isaac changed the aura, the smell, the magnetic field of Jacob. That he doesn't need to look for help. Help will begin to be attracted towards him. He doesn't need to ask. Help will come. And that is the game that we need to play. And then when it comes to this, please let us do it. Remember the 4 things, and as we go on, you need to tap into the Spirit in this conference. You need to tap, and Pastor Paul, you said that there's sometimes when the scripture is opened, it's not the one that you do on your own. Most of the time, it's a man that will open the scripture unto you. And now your understanding may not be your own job, opening of but the scripture being opened is the job of the set man and the convener of the event. So don't just come and go. Come and pack the grace that is available here. Are we together? So, good. Praise the Lord. And this framework actually is from the Bible. It's from the Bible. Leading a transformation. Every one of us wants to lead transformation. So you look at this, I'll just take some few things there and I will rush. I will be doing probably microwave teaching today. Microwave teaching. And leading a transformation entails a lot of things. Number one, let me say this before I even go to the number one. You may think you're getting things done right now, but you know what? The consistency and the longevity of what you're doing is what actually means transformation. Transformation is not a breakthrough. Something that just happened immediately and it doesn't continue. Transformation must continue and then must be sustainable. And then for you to sustain it, then you must understand everything that I'm going to be talking about today. Leading a transformation is not just a 1 month thing. It's not just a 1 year thing. It's just not a 1 decade thing. Leading a transformation is way, way beyond that. It doesn't have any one. It has continuous and consistency in the approach and everything that you do. And then to lead a transformation, the first thing here is understanding leadership. We trashed that yesterday. And then I believe that we've understood a little bit about leadership, what we need to bring on board and everything. The next thing is to understand the readiness and resource balance. The readiness and resource balance. Many of us don't understand this balance. Every ministry, every business must achieve equilibrium. A balance. I put a billboard in Lagos, in Ozumban, by the way, and people were a bit confused by one of my programs that is happening in Abuja in December. Because I wrote a Spanish word. El Maestro del Equilibrio. We consultants sometimes, for us to get your money, we try to complicate what is simple. Because sometimes if we don't speak that English, you don't think that we deserve the kind of amount that we are charging. So El Maestro del Equilibrio simply means master of balance. Master of balance. And then that's what actually makes a company or a church grow very fast. And then when you look at it, one of the balances that we have to talk about is the resource and readiness balance. Then we have generating energy. I think I mentioned that earlier on when I told the doctor that I'm not going to the marketplace. He's got to go with me. I have to be looking at my back or looking at my front. He's there. When I look at my back, when I'm overwhelmed, I look at my back and say, don't worry, keep going, and then he has to go with me. Because you must know how to generate energy. You must know how to generate energy. And then we're going to explain that today, and being vision-led, And then total system perspective, comprehensive implementation processes. We'll talk, if time permits, we'll talk about that. But that simply means you must understand the systems that work. And I think probably, but I don't know whether Pastor Shea has mentioned it. You know, even your body, you have different systems. And that's why you go to check, normal checkup, evaluating your body. And if one system is not functioning well, the body is sick. You are sick, actually. If your digestive system is not working and every other system is working, that person is sick. That person needs to see a doctor or probably a consultant immediately. Because you say, okay, the vitals are working very well, but one particular one is not working, doesn't mean you're okay. Do you understand? So as a minister of God, as a minister of the gospel, as a minister who runs the church, an effective church, you must pay attention to your systems. And you must understand what they are. And then you must drive these systems together. Many a times we want to solve a problem with probably the administrative arm of our ministry, but we put all our focus in dealing with the administrative part of our ministry. And before we know what's happening, because we don't pay attention to the other ones, you fix this and then you go back to see a problem probably in the evangelism department. So what we say when we talk about total and comprehensive implementation process is that there is no meeting. If this meeting is all about fixing admin, when we are having the meeting about fixing admin, for 80% of the time, we should use 20% of the time to check on other systems and make sure that they are working. Every meeting must have a check on every other systems. If you don't check it, every other system, you may be carried away by implementing the solution for one system, and then by the time you achieve that, now realize that you have to go to other systems to be dealing with it. Because a system is working does not mean it should not be checked on. Are we together on this? That's what it's when we talk about implementing comprehensive implementation. Let's go into our conversations. And when we talk about transformation, please note this. There can be no transformation without leadership, without systems development. Everybody who wants to lead a transformation does not lead it as an individual. You must lead it through the system that you have created. You must lead it through the system that you have empowered. And you must lead it through the system that is powerful than you. Are we together on this? You must lead it. No transformation can be led without a system. And we have seen a lot of churches, we've seen a lot of men of God who led revivers. I mean, I was somewhere in Ojota speaking in a particular church, and I drove past the church. At the time, when that church was buzzing, everybody was trooping there. Everyone was trooping there. And you now ask yourself, why is everybody not trooping there? Why you see some people who have been gathering crowd since 10 decades, 20 decades, and they are still keeping those crowds? Because those things, the transformation, so to say, was built on individualism. It was not built on systems. So you must be able, when God is blessing you, you must begin to pay attention to having systems in place. And the systems are the things that will eventually drive the transformation, even when you begin to get tired or you begin to lose energy and you don't know how to replenish it. The system will definitely cover up for you. And we must understand this. Many churches, even Jesus Christ understood systems. Before he went out to even start doing his miracle, the first thing he did was to recruit the 12. He recruited the 12 and he put systems in place. Even all the healings and all the breakthroughs and everything, the system was the one that actually took over from him and then became what we have today. Let me say this before I begin to talk about systems and begin to talk about all these things. Know very well that you can never be great without the supernatural. Never. When we know, when the Bible says you shall be a joy of many generations, it's not by eloquence. You shall be a joy of many generations. I'm not diverting right now because people just say these people, they come to talk about logical thing and everything. You can never be great A seed shall serve you, and shall be a joy of many generations. See, that scripture involves a lot of supernatural tendencies. Now go into history. Don't even look at church. Go into history. Look at the people that we still talk about their names. Alexander the Great, and all those people, Hercules. There is, when you dig deep into their background, there are some indications of the extraterrestrial involvement in their greatness. So, when you see a man that his name outlives him, when it comes to greatness, you go and study that man very well. Most of them, they have rituals that they have submitted themselves to that has kept them going year in, year out, year in. Now, some of those rituals may not even be righteous ones, but they kept it going. Bottom line, no supernatural, no greatness. No supernatural, no greatness. But after you've gotten the supernatural, one of the things that the supernatural will do is to bring you to meeting like this so that you can understand the power of systems. And systems can take you further. That's, like I said, is a digression. But then, let me move on quickly. I need to talk about this. This is, when we come to leadership, operations is, you picked up the church, you started the church is working. We open our business, we open our, it's also about, I have to be about my father's business anyway. We open our church, people come in, and then we pray, they give the offering. I mean, the church is operating. But then you need to move away from that. That's what Pastor Shea has told us ever since. And now move into operational management. And when you talk about operational management, you're talking about, what's it called? Putting policies and systems in place. Policies and systems in place. Having your standard SOP, standard operational programs and everything. You must have it. You must have all the policies in place. That is when you have operational management. Now, leadership begins to come in. This is where pastoring now begins to take place. When you now begin to have what we call operational leadership. And operational leadership is managing the people that manages the system. Manageable, that's the work of the deacons. The deacons in church are not supposed to be doing the system. They are supposed to be managing the people that manages the system. While the pastors are not supposed to be operational leadership, with the micro activities, the day-to-day activities of the church. That is not the work of a pastor, and especially when you're a senior pastor, that is not your work. Because if you keep yourself there, you will not be able to see the future. And that's exactly what the apostles have to tell the people. We can't even continue to serve devil. You people need to appoint people so that they can do this and we can give ourselves continually to fasting prayers and to the study of the word. Because they understood that there's a difference between operation and strategy. Now, as a pastor, your job is to be in the strategic leadership position. And what do I mean by being in the strategic leadership position? Your job is actually to shape the ideology and the ideas that are coming into your organization. And how do you shape it? You shape it by hearing from God. And you see, you cannot hear from God effectively if you are too cumbered with the mundane things around, with the activities, operational things around. So you need to free yourself. You need to have people who are capable of doing what you have been doing before when it comes to administration, when it comes to planning of events and everything, but you want to do everything. You want everything to come to your table. You want to sign everything. No. You are actually shortchanging yourself. Your job is to free yourself from the job. The day-to-day activity, you must free yourself from it. And if you're a businessman, you can put yourself into this. And, Operational leadership is where you have the COO, Chief Operating Officer. The CEO is the strategic leadership. But you see the sophisticated leadership. And Pastor Paul, you were saying something, scripturally yesterday when he was saying, I just said, oh, this is sophisticated leadership. And sophisticated leadership is before now, you are working on the organization. Now, when it comes to sophisticated leadership, is when you now begin to work on yourself. Because look, what's the kind of skills, the kind of leadership that brought you to this point where you are right now definitely will not be the one that will take you out of this point. So being sophisticated is your ability to evolve as a leader. It's your ability, sophisticated leadership also demands that you tell yourself that this particular role or this particular dispensation or this particular move of our ministry, I may not be the person to lead it. So you now begin to look at people within your fold that you can put on that assignment. When we were doing in Daystar, when we're looking, I was the pastor in charge of mission for a long time. And then the church, I was pastor in charge of mission when the church grew from 1 service to 4 services in 10 months. And my job, 1 service to 4 services in 10 months. And then the first service was first class seating. The first services were economy seating. Hope you understand what I mean. Okay, you don't understand. The first service, the one service that we're holding, there was enough leg room. That's first class. The 4 services, there was economy, there was no leg room. Sometimes people have to even leave. If you are sitting in the fifth row, in the middle, people may have to leave for you to be able to pass. That's how squeezed it was. And we moved from 1 service to 4 services in 10 months. But then, we had to work on a whole lot of, the units. And at that point, even as the head of the unit, I knew that almost all this job, I cannot take it. The first day when we're going to go on the media, we're the first church that went advertising services without having a church program on media. We just decided to go and advertise our church, Sunday service. And I was told to talk to the professionals. And that's one thing you need to do, skills audit, talent audit in your church. Know who is who. Know who has the skills know the different kind of skills that are available in your church. And you know who to deploy. So we got all those people who are into advertising and everything. We got them. I went to sit down with them. And then the first time in my life, this is about 1999 or so. And then the first time in my life, when I sat down with them, they now asked me a question. Where is the brief? Brief? I said, yeah, I'm briefing you now. He said, no. He said, it's not that brief. To be sincere, that was the first time we heard what is brief, in that context. When they started asking, when I said, I'm briefing you, and I said, that's not the brief. Okay, let us come up with the brief. So when they were asking me the question, it dawned on me very well that I'm not even the one to sit down here. We have to go and bring Reverend Sam to sit down with them. And they were pulling stuff out of Reverend Sam. And then it dawned on even myself, Reverend Sam and myself, that we are not supposed to be one to lead this thing. It was sophisticated enough to step back and allow the professional to get the job done. Now, when you read Esther, Vashti and everything, you may think that Esther got the queen's position because she prayed. But when you read very well, you realize that Esther got the queen's position because she was the only person amongst the people that were set aside that listened to the Enoch, the professional. So how are you dealing with the professionals that are in your church? Do you even know them? How come you're talking about security, but you don't know that somebody who has served in the police is in your church? It may not look like it, but if you have served in the police, whether a sergeant or something, it should be placed in charge of security or even assistant security person. While you may not have leadership, but he knows the know-how. He knows how to train somebody who is a thief. As he's coming, he says, that boy, be putting your eyes on him. He understands it. He understands it. And you see, you must be sophisticated enough to know that because you are leading doesn't mean you are the encyclopedia of everything. If you don't get to that point, your ministry will suffer. And guess what? Those people, just like Pastor Paul you said, even if you are tied them down with titles, they will leave. They will go and look for a place where they can exhibit and manifest their gifts. So what are the professionals? What are the professionals that you have working with you? Who are the professionals that you have in your church? Any course, you need to even preach in it. Any course that you have done, whether 1 month or 2 months in Coursera or whatever it is, let me know. Let me know every day. For a start, you can be putting your announcement. No, we are very knowledgeable people in this church, and I know we have done a lot of trainings and everything. Whatever trainings that you have done, there is a link and a form to fill. We would like to help you so that you can help us get things done. Be announcing that because every 2 months training, every 1 day training or 2 days training is adding to the capacity of your church. But a man that is with honor but knoweth not is like what? A beast that perishes. So you must know. If you don't know, then there are some things that you are praying for that God has given you solutions for in your church, but you have not done the research and not done them to know who they are. That is being sophisticated. You work on yourself. You have to renew yourself. You have to reinvent yourself as a leader. I started a business recently, and then when I saw the business, the numbers are crazy. When we start business, we first look at the numbers. The numbers are not started coming, but through strategy, the numbers are crazy. But I knew that I'm not supposed to lead that organization. I knew I don't have the energy. I'll be distracted. Even I don't have the required skills. I can bamboozle it, but I will be tired. I'll be tired after 2 years. I'll be tired after 3. I'm tired after 4 years. That's even if I would be tired. I need to get somebody who is naturally equipped to drive it. So I step out as the MD. I step out as the chairman. I appointed a chairman and the MD. Let them run. I'm just in the board. And sometimes I just see the conversation going on in our WhatsApp group. Some of those things they are talking about between the chairman and the MD, I don't even understand. And I'm saying, thank God, I didn't even interpret this thing. And they are moving this thing. That is being sophisticated as a leader. Balance. Readiness and resources balance. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me quickly go there. Let me start with resources. Resources is your ability, like I've been mentioning so far, is you should know the kind of things that you have within you, within your organization. The skill set, human capital, human resources. We leave that to HR to figure out, but you must know the kind of skills that you have. Infrastructure, resources. Money is resources. You must understand it. It could be finance structure, infrastructure, culture, human capital, and ideas. That is where most of the time when we do our retreats, that is the place we put all our attention on. How do we make our infrastructure better? How do we make our structure, the culture, and define how do we make more money? How do we impact the lives of our workers? How do we increase their capacity? That is the place we put our focus on. And once you put your focus only on that, you don't have a balanced organization. Now you need to look back and look at what we call the readiness and resources balance. Many of us don't pay attention to the readiness. And readiness is you being dissatisfied with status quo. Now, listen to me. No matter the achievement no matter what you have achieved, you can't afford to celebrate for too long. Hope you understand what I'm talking about. Celebrate 1 week, maximum 1 month. You must put everybody back on their toes. You have to be gauging the readiness. Because the time a counter-attack can come to a soldier is after they have won and they are drinking. Once they are drunk, the element of surprise comes in. So you don't want that to happen. Allow them celebrate 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. 4th week, you must come into the boardroom and create another vision. You're asking yourself, what is happening to all these our fathers, even at 70 and 80? Pastor Adeboye, I went to the camp, sir. I don't normally go there. I went there, and I went to have a retreat 2019. And then I wanted to go to the auditorium. I went to the auditorium, one that is close to the hotel that I was staying there. And they told me there's another bigger one than this. Even the one that I went, I was already overwhelmed. I was already overwhelmed. And I still went there. And the man is still there, 80. I won't be surprised if tomorrow you say, Daddy said, no more kilometer 9 by kilometer 9. If you stop it, that readiness, that creating the new vision, creating the new place to go, and you just only focus on capacity and everything, you're not balanced. Readiness and resource balance. Very, very important for us to understand. Very, very important for us to embrace. 50,000 seater. We thought that was okay. Now there's the hack coming up. And then there you are. You have achieved something for 2 years. You are still sharing the testimony of 2 years. Come on, you need to look for a new one. You need to look for a new one. One thing that surprises us in Daystar those days is that every 3 months when we come in, we see something new happening. There's just something new happening. The day stops to happen. The captains of industries in your church are inspired by your lofty dreams. If you don't have lofty dreams, that is why they go somewhere else. And don't deceive yourself, or they may be coming to your church on Sunday service. Their resources is not coming with them. You are receiving crumbs. They take the real amount, the real money to the people that are provoking their minds, putting them on the toes. The place they go to and say, wow, what is this? Now the question is that, are you wowing your people with the vision that you have? Readiness. Don't ever settle. You can't afford to settle. Don't listen to the praises of men for too long. When you get home, read Joshua 12 and Joshua 13. So every day you should be praying, God, what is the chapter 13 of my life? Because when you read Joshua 12, you see that the resume of Joshua was laid out. He killed that king, he conquered this, he conquered that, he conquered. Now, if you read 12, Joshua chapter 12, you will be comfortable. Joshua should just go to retirement. When people say retire young, it's a corporate boss, though. There's nothing retirement when it comes to the things of God, though. Nothing retirement. It's a corporate boss. You will walk and keep walking. Just your work will be reduced. But that is why you need to go to God. Because in chapter 13 of Joshua, God himself appeared to Joshua and said, Josh, my own paraphrase, Joshibaba, there is still many more lands to conquer. So ask God, every time you have achieved something, what is the chapter 13? What is the next thing to do? What is the next thing to do? Or else, you will create an imbalance, and you'll be out, and you'll be complaining, we were in the ministry before them. We were in the ministry before them. They will invite me before. They don't invite me again. It's not their fault. It is your fault. When something goes wrong, it's good you always look at the mirror. When something goes right, you look at the window. When something goes right, you look at the window. You can give praise to other people. And they make that. When things are going wrong, you look at the mirror. You see yourself. You have to work on yourself first. So that's readiness and resource balance. Let me also say this. There's also a part I teach in a corporate organization. It is called the ambidextrous organization. Ambidextrous organization. You know what to be ambidextrous mean? Ability to use both hands. And in using both hands, what do we mean? An organization or a church right now should be able to explore new ground and exploit. Most of the time we explore because we get a new vision. We go and plant churches here and there, but we are not probably strong when it comes to exploitation. The land that you have conquered before, how have you been able to exploit it? We put administration there just to keep it, but are they exploiting the land? They are working on the land, but there are some resources in the land that you can still work on. While you go to conquer a new land, which is exploration, you must have people and train them so much that they can exploit what you have. Now, you have head ushers. But what have they done with improving the ushering units? Hello? What have they done with improving the ushering units? How have you exposed them? The protocol, how have you worked on them? I saw something today. I knew Dr. David was around before he came in. I saw the protocol guys come in. They were manning those places. They stood and said, I was surprised. Something must be happening here. And then he walked and said, yes, correct. Correct. I've never seen that before. Yeah, I've never. I remember those days, partially you understand, when we were doing stuff, and then, let me just say, House on the Rock was the benchmark when it comes to protocol those days. Niyi Adesanya, head of missions, went to House on the Rock and sat down in the back and was watching things. My friend Yemi Amushan, who was probably in charge of Dr. Yemi Amushan, was in charge of everything. I became friends with him. We were very close, asking him questions. There was a day they came to a particular church, very close by, just a week before our church. They came in there, and the way they did that church, they dominated the church. They moved in, they took over almost everything. It was as if the president of America was coming. The president of America was coming to Abuja. Your police force may not be functional. They take over everything. Security, everything. Your police will not even be able to come let the hotel and everything. That was what I saw. I said, no, I can't allow this to happen in church. No. How can you just dominate? I know in their own church, they stand. In our own church, we sit. So how can you just stand? No, it can't happen. I dealt with the situation. Well, let me tell you how I dealt with it. But what I'm trying to say is that I learned, and then we improved on what they have. I learned, and we improved. We used to exchange ministers. Yemi Amushan will hand over their minister to me. And then, before he hands over the minister to me, he's giving me details about the minister. What he would like to eat, what he would like to do. Seriously? I didn't even do that research. I was just going to take the man and just stop in one hotel and then come back for him. And he was saying, hey, that is exploiting. You don't just go and replicate the same ushering unit in Lagos because you are planning a church and replace the same ushering unit and everything. That is exploration. You must be strong in exploration and also strong in exploitation. The things that we have given to you, O head usher, What are you doing about it? Why am I picking on ushers today? Let me pick on choir. What are you doing about it? How innovative are you? What new ideas are you bringing in? And you must allow them bring the new ideas. Sometimes they kill your ideas. Or they reinvent your ideas. Something happened to me. I developed a course in my organization. And the school that we're starting. And I called it Mike. I like doing things like that. When you see things I do, you see Flip, you see Bleep, you see Mike, stuff like that. You see Elder. I love things like that. So I call this one Mike. Middle Management Impact Course. Then my executive director looked at this and said the costing there is limiting. So he changed my Mike to Middle Management Impact Program. I didn't like it. But I submitted to it. You're changing my rhymes. You're making it difficult for me to sell. But you know what? I have handed the job over to him. He's just changing the C and the P. He didn't change the whole program. Then I have to find a way of creating something that will sound like my pro or my po or something like that to sell my stuff. Allow them exploit. Don't be too bossy. Don't be a bully. You say, you tell us to think, but the way you act is that we should just be carrying out activities and not think. Because you don't even allow us to make mistakes. When we make mistakes, you come hard on us. No. Sometimes mistakes, you overlook it. It's not. You don't have to talk about it. When I was, there was a situation. I saw, actually, this is evangelism. A church member, I saw him from afar. He was smoking. I saw him. I was going to walk there. I saw him like this. So I turned back. I took another route. Till today, he doesn't know. I'm talking about, this is almost 25, 30 years ago. He doesn't know that I know that he was smoking at the time. But guess what? Anytime I'm preaching, if he was in this auditorium now, I know it's better. He became a pastor. He became a cell leader and a top leader later. But anytime I see him, no matter what I'm preaching, I'll talk about smoking. I'm sure the guy will be wondering, this guy is operating from the word of wisdom. No, it's not word of wisdom. This one is word from wisdom. So what am I trying to say here? Allow them fail. Let's accommodate their failure. Because until they try and miss it, they will not try again. You were patient with your toddler. He stood up and fell. You didn't condemn. You brought them up again, stood up and fell. That is how to exploit. That's how to allow your people to exploit. And then you expose them to adequate training. Every failure must be a training ground. What have you learned? What are the lessons that you picked that you will not repeat again? Is there a way you can put this on a book, on a memo, so that we can know and we can let people know this is the kind of mistake you should do, kind of things you should not do? Create allowance for failure. That's how to grow. Even you can't even explore without even failing. Planning to fail. Everything I do, there is a plan to fail. We think about it. I went to have a program in London. Gathering men. I said, I want to gather them from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. I say, what? In London? When they have bills to pay. Men. I said, let us try. We gathered over 100 men. And they stayed from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. They chased us out of the hotel room, the hall. They now went to the bar. I didn't go with them. That's just to make you laugh. Anyway, And they continue the conversation there. That's what they told us is not possible because of bills. But we factor it. Let us try. This is our first time. If we fail, it's okay. The money is not wasted. The money is for training. That mentality, that culture is very important. You tell us to try, but you blame us for trying. You write it on your book that this is our culture. It's innovation, no. Innovation, no. We innovate, and everything. Tell you after me, innovation. Innovation is our culture. It's our culture. But we try to innovate, and then you are blaming us. You come on the pulpit and say, rubbish people. I don't know what is it. Even in the private, you call us in, you tell us your mind. You have killed innovation. You have killed innovation. Let us talk about generating energy. Generating energy. Look, as a man of God or a woman of God, you must know where your energy is being replenished. And you must know where your energy is being drained. Some of us, we gullibly and zombiciously go to places that drains our energy. We talk to people that drains our energy. We call them our leader, our mentor, but they drain your energy. Their story is not inspiring you, but intimidating you. You leave their presence, you're not feeling as if you are inspired and charged to go on. You feel defeated. And here you are still going on that mountain. You don't understand what is called the energy vampires. Oh yes, the energy vampires are in church. Sometimes they don't even know that they are vampires. It is their language that is draining you. It is their word that is draining you. Anywhere you go to and you feel lesser than yourself is an energy vampire. Anywhere you go to, anyone you meet, that makes you feel you are inadequate. And you feel dejected and depressed is an energy vampire. There are some places you go to, their testimony inspires you and you say, I want to go for this. It's a different ballgame entirely. But you must understand, especially if you are above 35 years, your energy is not natural again. You know, you saw my nephew, that we came to the airport together. My trainer comes to the house and then tries to drill me like he would drill that guy. He's just 19 going to 20. And he was giving us the same reps, say 30-30, 40-40. I said, are you okay? Are you high? I said, do you know my age? My age is almost times 3 his age. He said, no, it's not up to times 10. No, we do that. I said, no, if you are giving me 20, you give me 10. Because our energy level is different. There's some food that you eat that kills your energy. There's some food that are energy vampires. Oh, you don't know? You eat that thing and the next thing you want to do is sleep. You don't want to think. Oh, yeah. I mean, you live here right now, you are charged, you are energized, you want to think, and then you now eat one particular kind of food. And boy, you know that you said you would think over 3-4 hours, because Pastor Ogbueli said we should think. And then you now got in there, you now start eating a particular food that is making you sleep and doze off every now and then. You are, and I want to think, the thing don't even think. Food. You have to be able to trace the things that drains your energy, and you must be able to trace the things that replenish your energy. That is wisdom. So you don't go and do things that will take energy away from you. Unnecessary debate. Unnecessary debate. I was flying It was one of the trips that was brought me to Onitsha. Then we have to fly to Enugu and then get to Onitsha and everything like that. And then I was there. I was second in the road. The guy was in front of me. We're flying business. So the guy was arguing with the fan official. They were going back and forth. But I was there. I didn't say a word. And the guy was fighting, thinking he was fighting for us in the business class. He would look back. I didn't say a word. He was expecting to say, no, don't mind them. Used to be people. Because I know. And the fan guy purposely now delayed us because of the fight with the guy. He now kept us there, allowing the economy to go. But I know the plane will not take off until we are in the plane. So why the argument? Do you know that some arguments you argue? You have lost energy. And then the 45 minutes in the plane that you're supposed to use to think, because you are closer to the extra. And ideas should be dropping. But then, because you have argued unnecessarily, you're now in the plane, you are dozing off. Misused 45 minutes of reading, of impacting your mind. How many debates? APC, PDP, but you only have one vote. You don't even control a territory. How many debates? But what I'm trying to say here is that there are so many debates that you involve yourself in that because you have debated your destiny helper, supplier of energy, we're looking at you, this one. You won't get it. You won't get it. Energy. As a pastor, whether your ministry, you must understand the people that God has created, God has blessed to be your energy replenishers. When my heart is overwhelmed, Lord, please lead me to the rock that is higher than I. That is energy supply. You must know the rock. You must know how to trace yourself back there. You must trace how to, because look, no project, forget it. No project that will ever be accomplished without enough energy. Enough emotional energy, emotional stability. None. So if you don't know how to generate it, you are an endangered species. Your speaking in tongues will generate energy for you. Beloved, pray, build yourself in your most holy faith, praying in the Holy Ghost. Building up energy. That's what it does. Building up energy. So in the next 5 minutes, let me share with you how to raise captains of industry. And it's so simple. So you need to study. God gave me this. I call it the 3 John verse 2 framework. 3 John verse 2 framework. I wish above all things. New King James, please. I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Another translation says that I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health. But as you go on, bring your soul along. Bring your soul along. You know, this I wish is still a wish. It's still a wish. But the guarantee of this wish staying is your soul must come along. So when you are raising people in business, as you are praying the spiritual side of it, make sure the soul comes along. Actually, the prayer meeting is supposed to attack the spirit and everything like that, but then your classrooms, your teachings must address the soul. The soul must come along. If the soul does not come along, they can get the breakthrough, but they will not be able to sustain it. And what's the soul? Emotions, intellect, and will. Strong will. Emotion, we talk about that's energy. Is your church service supplying energy? Have you sat down to look at it? How can my praise and worship, can it supply energy? Do you even pay attention? It's when your church has grown to a particular number that you don't pay attention to all those things. But if your church is still growing, pay attention to the guys who will lead the praise and worship every Sunday. Is it possible they spend time with you in the closet when your people are praying together on Saturday? Don't just be the one to pray. Pray with everybody that will do something on that day. The next day, pray with them. I told one of my guys that, look, he plays the saxophone. I said, please, when you're playing the saxophone, don't just play. In your quiet time, don't just be praying it on. Be worshiping God with your saxophone every day. Make it a routine. You will so much encapsulate that presence that by the time you put that my saxophone in your mouth, we will feel it. Energy. Emotional strength. Many businesses crumble because of emotional strength. If you fail in the days of adversity, your strength is small. And the strength is not the bicep. It's not your financial muscles. The strength there in Proverbs 24 verse 10, if you go to 3 and 4 and 5, you realize what it's talking about is knowledge and understanding and wisdom. And that takes you into intellect. How can you have businessmen that are not even going for courses? How can you have businessmen that are not going for seminars? How can you? You think you can teach everything on a Sunday service? No, you can't. You don't even have the ability to. If you have not done business before. The grace that God has given you is to be able to connect them to people that can help them. Because you don't have the word. I mean, sir, I don't know. Forgive me. When I hear pastors tell businessmen that you don't have to borrow. You don't have to borrow. Borrow is not scriptural. No. We built this church without borrowing. We hear you. But that is not the reality on ground there. Save us, cut us some slacks. The money we are borrowing is OPM. The one that you use to build the church is also OPM. Just that it belongs to God. Our own belongs to Zenith. The one we borrowed. It's OPM. Other people's money. We contributed the money and brought it to church. But it's so that when he stayed our hand and came into the offering basket, it became church money. It's OPM. OPM now, other people's money. That translated into God's money. But the other people's money went into guaranteed trust. The biggest of the busiest business, Elon Musk, everybody, they are indebted. What you should be doing is to teach your people how to use the loan effectively and how to manage the debt. Do you think it's only Dangote Cement that is interested in Dangote's health? Let him fall sick. You'll see how many banks that will distribute air ambulance. I mean, they will be fighting, no, this guy must not die. This guy cannot die. Carry him anywhere. Our money? No way. But there's an intellectualism that goes with running a business. And you must get them there. And then the last one is will. Yeah, I know. For him to have stood up, I'm supposed to be at the airport. The will, strong will. Look, the bold will always eat up the righteous. There's a scripture. Don't let me go there. Give me Proverbs 16. No, not Proverbs. Luke 16, verse 8. Message translation. Quickly. I can't teach everything. I have to drop the microphone. Look at this. Here's a surprise. The master praised the crooked manager. And why? Because he knew how to look after himself. Many of us don't know how to look after ourselves. Or your businessmen don't. You need to teach them how to look after themselves. You need to teach them how to connect with the people at the top. Whenever any meeting is happening, and somebody who's got their interest is not there, they are endangered. Because he knows how to look at them. Streetwise people are smarter in this regard than law-abiding citizens. They are on constant alert, looking for angles, surviving by their way. Go to the next one, please, quickly. I want you to be smart in the same way, but for the right things. In other words, You'll be smart. You should be wise as a serpent, but gentle as a dove. There should be nothing that they know that your businessman does not know. But they have a caveat to do the right thing with it. But there should be no strategy of the unbeliever that is not in the church. But we are doing good with our own. Not that we don't know how to do bad, but we can do good with our own. But that's not where I'm going. To concentrate, using every adversity to stimulate you to creative survival. To concentrate your attention on the bare essential. Look at this. So you will live and really live. Not complacently just get by on good behavior. Good behavior is not enough. Intelligence, strength, fortitude, courage to take risk is a very vital ingredient when it comes to business. And your businessmen, captains of industry must possess that. And it's good that they possess it early. Sorry. I have to stop here. There'll be another time. Dr. David, thank you so much, sir.